Get your filthy hands off my merchandise before I call the police. Bethany Cross snatches the platinum credit card and tosses it onto the marble floor like garbage. She watches Dr. Keisha Reynolds' face as the $10,000 limit card skitters across polished stone. Pick it up. Bethany points at the floor with her perfectly manicured finger. Then get out of my store. Keisha doesn't move. Bethany steps on the card with her Louboutin heel, grinding it against cold marble. The luxury electronics store falls silent. Customers gasp. A teenager films everything. Security, Bethany shouts, jabbing her finger toward the exit. Remove this woman immediately. 2 guards approach reluctantly. Keisha's business partner trembles beside her, phone recording every second. Bethany grabs Keisha's arm, nails digging into expensive fabric. You people need to understand your place. She pushes Keisha toward the door. The billionaire tech mogul stumbles but maintains her composure. Bethany's triumph spreads across her face like poison. She just humiliated a customer. She just destroyed a $6 billion acquisition deal. She just ended her own career. What would you do if this happened to you? Drop your reaction below. Bethany has no idea she's being watched by 75,000 people streaming live. Dr. Keisha Reynolds steps through the glass doors of Techlux Premium, Manhattan's most exclusive electronics boutique. Her appearance is deliberately understated. Dark jeans that cost more than most monthly salaries, a simple black sweater made from the world's finest cashmere, and sneakers that whisper wealth rather than scream it. Nothing flashy, nothing obvious, just the quiet confidence of someone who built a technology empire from nothing. The store buzzes with afternoon energy. Wealthy tech enthusiasts examine the latest devices like collectors studying rare art. Sales associates hover around customers clutching titanium credit cards. Private demonstration rooms hum with presentations of prototype devices that won't hit markets for months. The air smells like leather upholstery, expensive cologne, and the particular scent of serious money-changing hands. Keisha approaches the main display where the latest quantum computing devices gleam under designer lighting. The machines represent cutting-edge technology. Personal quantum computers worth more than luxury cars, AI processors that could power small cities, devices containing more innovation than most people see in lifetimes. 3 junior sales associates notice her immediately. Jennifer, a blonde with nervous energy, exchanges a meaningful look with her colleague Robert. The glance carries years of retail training. Assess, categorize, prioritize. Their eyes take inventory. Young black woman, casual clothes, no obvious wealth signals. Translation: probably not a serious customer. They busy themselves with imaginary tasks. Jennifer reorganizes perfectly arranged displays. Robert studies paperwork that doesn't need attention. Both hope someone else handles the approaching interaction. From her glass office overlooking the sales floor, store manager Bethany Cross observes every detail. Her predatory instincts activate as she studies Keisha's appearance. Young black woman in casual attire, browsing their most exclusive merchandise, triggers every bias alarm she's developed over 12 years in luxury retail. Bethany's mental calculation is swift and ruthless. Wrong demographic, wrong clothes, wrong everything for Techlux's carefully curated clientele. Ashley Kim, the newest associate, finally approaches with genuine politeness but visible uncertainty. Her smile appears practiced but sincere. Good afternoon, Ashley says carefully. Can I help you find something specific today? Or are you perhaps looking for our basic electronics section? The question sounds innocent, but the subtext cuts. Are you sure you belong here? I'd like to see your most exclusive quantum computing systems, Keisha responds with calm authority. Ashley's rehearsed smile wavers. She glances toward Bethany's office where her manager watches through glass like a hawk studying prey. Of course, Ashley lies smoothly. Let me show you some of our beautiful pieces. But instead of leading Keisha toward the museum-quality displays in the center of the store, Ashley guides her toward the consumer electronics section near the entrance. The devices here cost thousands, rather than hundreds of thousands. Expensive by normal standards, but entry-level for Techlux's true clientele. Keisha examines a standard tablet while conducting her own study of the store's social dynamics. She watches how other customers receive treatment. The elderly white man in an expensive suit gets personal attention from 2 associates. His questions receive detailed technical explanations and complimentary champagne service. The middle-aged woman carrying a Hermes bag gets invited into a private demonstration room where the truly spectacular technology waits behind locked doors. Associates treat her like royalty, hanging on every technical preference. Meanwhile, Keisha stands alone except for Ashley's reluctant supervision. The differential treatment creates a perfect case study in institutional bias. Keisha files away every detail for future reference. Bethany emerges from her office like a predator who's identified weakness. Her heels click against marble floors with military precision as she crosses the boutique. Other associates automatically step aside, recognizing absolute authority. Bethany's smile doesn't reach her eyes, and Keisha notices everything. Bethany positions herself strategically between Keisha and the premium technology displays, her body language screaming territorial protection. She radiates the confidence of someone accustomed to making snap judgments about customer worthiness. "Good afternoon," Bethany says with professional coldness that could freeze champagne. "I'm Bethany Cross, the store manager. Is there something specific you're searching for today?" The words sound polite enough, but the subtext slices like a scalpel. "Why exactly are you here disrupting my carefully maintained environment?" "I'm interested in your quantum computing collection," Keisha replies evenly. Bethany's laugh sounds like breaking crystal. "Do you have an appointment with us? Our most exclusive systems require advanced scheduling and financial pre-qualification procedures." "I wasn't aware that shopping required appointments." "Well," Bethany's condescension drips like honey laced with arsenic. "Our established clientele typically understands our processes. They're familiar with how luxury technology retail actually operates." She pauses dramatically, letting the implications settle like dust on expensive surfaces. "Are you familiar with our price points? Individual quantum systems start at 7 figures. Our signature collections reach 8 figures. It's not uncommon for serious customers to spend more than most people's lifetime earnings on a single purchase." The insult hangs in the boutique's perfumed air like incense. Other customers abandon their conversations to watch the developing drama. An elderly woman wearing diamond earrings the size of grapes nods approvingly at Bethany's gatekeeping performance. "I'd like to see your prototype neural interface systems," Keisha states with unwavering clarity. Bethany's professional mask disintegrates completely. Her eyes narrow to calculating slits as she processes this audacious request from someone she's already categorized as unsuitable. "Those particular systems require extensive pre-qualification protocols," Bethany lies smoothly. "Financial documentation, references from existing clients, verification of purchase history with comparable establishments." She physically guides Keisha away from the exclusive section like she's herding livestock away from forbidden pastures. "Perhaps we should start with something more realistic, something within your actual range, rather than aspirational browsing." Keisha reaches into her purse and produces an elegant business card embossed with subtle platinum lettering. "Reynolds Quantum Industries, CEO and founder." Bethany accepts the card with obvious reluctance, glancing at it for perhaps 3 seconds before sliding it back across the counter like contaminated evidence. "I'm sure you understand we serve a very specific clientele here," Bethany continues relentlessly. "Our standards extend beyond simply having money. It's about understanding our culture, our values, our community expectations." She emphasizes our like a verbal weapon designed to exclude. "I'd like to speak with the store owner." "The owner trusts my judgment completely regarding customer interactions," Bethany replies sharply. "I have full discretionary authority over all sales decisions, and I've determined that you're not an appropriate fit for our brand identity." Keisha's fingers drum once against marble, and Bethany should be running for her life. Bethany orchestrates her degradation campaign with the precision of a seasoned torturer. She summons both security guards with a sharp finger snap, treating Keisha like suspicious merchandise, requiring immediate inspection. All high-value purchases require comprehensive verification protocols, Bethany announces loudly enough for every customer to hear clearly. "I'll need 3 forms of official identification immediately." Keisha complies with dignified silence. She produces her driver's license, passport, and corporate identification card. Bethany examines each document with theatrical suspicion that would embarrass community theater actors. The driver's license gets held against ceiling lights, searching for security features. Bethany studies the photograph with a magnifying glass, comparing facial features like a forensic investigator. The passport receives similar treatment. Every page examined, every stamp scrutinized, every detail questioned. Catherine, Bethany calls to her assistant with the urgency of someone discovering criminal evidence. I need immediate verification of license authenticity. Check signature patterns against our fraud database. 37 minutes pass in retail purgatory. Bethany deliberately serves 4 other customers, while Keisha waits like furniture. Each transaction receives warm personal attention, detailed technology histories, complimentary champagne service, and invitations to private demonstration rooms. The white customers get treated like visiting royalty. Keisha gets treated like a suspected fraudster. Finally, inevitably, the platinum American Express Centurion card emerges. Bethany recoils like she's encountered radioactive material. She picks up the card, using a silk cloth from the display counter, avoiding any direct skin contact with the metal. Our security systems show irregular patterns with these particular card types. Bethany lies with practiced smoothness. I'm required to call American Express for immediate verification and fraud investigation. She dials the customer service number with deliberate slowness, making each digit a performance. Other customers whisper among themselves while pointing discreetly. Some take photographs. The humiliation becomes public entertainment. Yes, this is Bethany Cross from Techlux Premium on Fifth Avenue. She speaks into the phone with official authority. We have a highly suspicious credit card situation requiring immediate verification and possible fraud investigation. Keisha's business partner raises her smartphone to document the discrimination. Bethany's head snaps toward her like a striking cobra detecting movement. Absolutely no recording permitted, Bethany shrieks with sudden fury. Strict store policy. Security guards remove that phone immediately or escort both women from the premises. The guards hesitate. Something fundamental feels wrong about this entire situation, but they depend on Bethany for their paychecks. Bethany circles back to Keisha, with renewed venom coursing through her veins. She leans close enough for her perfume to invade Keisha's space, close enough for her breath to brush against Keisha's ear. Do you have any other cards that might actually work here? Bethany whispers with intimate cruelty. Perhaps something more realistic for someone in your particular circumstances. The final insult lands perfectly. Bethany steps back with crossed arms, waiting for Keisha to break into tears, storm out in rage, or collapse under the weight of public humiliation. Instead, something extraordinary happens that Bethany will replay in nightmares for years. Keisha's smile appears cold, predatory, and absolutely devastating to anyone who recognizes what it means. Keisha excuses herself to the boutique's marble restroom with the composure of someone attending a routine business meeting. Her partner follows closely, heels echoing off imported stone walls. Once the heavy door clicks shut and locks with finality, Keisha allows herself exactly 15 seconds of human vulnerability. Her shoulders shake with suppressed rage. Her breath catches in her throat like broken glass. The humiliation burns through her chest with acid intensity, threatening to consume her professional composure entirely. The pain cuts deeper because it's familiar. 1,000 smaller indignities accumulated over decades of success. Every assumption about her competence, every surprised reaction to her achievements, every subtle suggestion that she doesn't belong in spaces her own money could purchase outright. Then the billionaire CEO returns with vengeance. Her phone appears like a weapon. Speed dial connects to her head of acquisitions before the first ring finishes. David, cancel the Techlux acquisition immediately. Her voice cuts through the air like surgical steel. Pull our entire offer, every single dollar. But Keisha, we've invested 2 years in due diligence, $6 billion off the table. Execute withdrawal protocols now. Click. Her partner reveals the nuclear option with trembling excitement. I live-streamed the entire encounter to your corporate social media accounts. 3.1 million followers watched everything in real time. Keisha's phone explodes with notifications faster than the screen can refresh. Comments flood in like a digital tsunami. The anger is volcanic. spreading across platforms with viral intensity. TechLux discrimination trends nationally within 8 minutes. 4 more calls follow in rapid succession. Each one a strategic missile launch. Legal department, prepare comprehensive discrimination case documentation. I want every second recorded, every witness identified, every precedent researched. Media team, draft statement ready in 20 minutes. Focus on systemic retail discrimination. Frame this as institutional change catalyst. Investment team, launch the Minority Tech Entrepreneur Fund immediately. $750 million, make it hurt their competitors. Board relations, emergency shareholder meeting. We're restructuring our acquisition strategy to prioritize inclusive businesses. Each conversation transforms personal humiliation into strategic corporate warfare. Keisha doesn't raise her voice above conversational levels. She doesn't need volume when precision cuts deeper. Meanwhile, Bethany celebrates her victory with colleagues like a general who just won a decisive battle. You should have seen her face when I threw that card on the floor. Bethany laughs with genuine delight. Some people need harsh lessons about knowing their place in society. She calls store owner Gerald TechLux with triumphant confidence, spinning her narrative about protecting brand integrity from unsuitable customers who threaten their exclusive reputation. Gerald, currently reviewing quarterly reports in his Los Angeles office, barely listens to Bethany's detailed report. His mind focuses on upcoming merger discussions rather than store management details. Use your best judgment, Bethany, Gerald dismisses with distracted authority. That's exactly why I pay you such generous compensation. Bethany's confidence reaches stratospheric levels. She's convinced herself she's a heroic guardian defending luxury retail standards against inappropriate intrusion. She starts planning her evening celebration. Champagne dinner, expensive shopping, maybe even a social media post about maintaining excellence. Her phone buzzes with a Google alert notification. Reynolds Quantum Industries CEO trending. She dismisses it without reading. Why would she care about some random technology company? The irony would be hilarious if it weren't about to detonate her entire existence. Bethany has no idea her victory is broadcasting to millions in real time. Keisha returns to the sales floor, radiating supernatural composure that unnerves everyone present. She walks directly to the store's most prestigious display case, where a revolutionary quantum neural interface gleams under designer lighting. The price tag reads $1.2 million in elegant script. This system, Keisha says clearly, pointing at the device with steady fingers. I'll purchase it immediately. She places her platinum American Express Centurion card on the marble counter with deliberate precision. The metallic sound echoes through the boutique like a challenge thrown down before combat. Bethany's face contorts through multiple emotions: surprise, rage, and something approaching panic. Her carefully constructed victory begins crumbling like a sandcastle facing incoming tide. I already explained our comprehensive policies regarding exclusive merchandise. Bethany's voice climbs higher with each word. That particular system requires extensive pre-qualification protocols that you clearly haven't completed. Then qualify me now. You need to demonstrate appropriate purchasing progression. Bethany insists desperately. Start with smaller systems, work your way up gradually. Prove your commitment to our brand values over time. She guides Keisha away from the premium section like she's redirecting traffic around an accident scene. Perhaps something under $50,000, more suitable for customers building their technology collections gradually. Bethany emphasizes building like she's addressing a child learning basic financial responsibility. I want the quantum neural interface system. Bethany signals her security guards with subtle hand gestures that Keisha intercepts and memorizes. 2 large men approach with obvious reluctance. Their instincts rebel against threatening a woman who hasn't committed any actual offense. Gentlemen, we have a problematic customer, making unrealistic demands beyond her obvious means, Bethany explains with authority that brooks no argument. She's disrupting our legitimate clients and creating an uncomfortable atmosphere. Guard Rodriguez studies Keisha's composed demeanor. Nothing about her suggests criminal intent or aggressive behavior, but Bethany signs his paychecks and controls his employment future. Ma'am, Rodriguez says gently, maybe you could consider. Call the police immediately, Bethany interrupts with escalating hysteria. I want her removed for trespassing and harassment of our valued customers. The remaining boutique patrons pull out smartphones instinctively. Modern reflexes kick in when drama unfolds. People record evidence. Bethany notices the proliferating cameras and loses complete control. No photography permitted. Strict store policy. This is a private business matter. But phones keep clicking. Social media posts multiply exponentially. TechLux hashtags start appearing in feeds across Manhattan's business district. Ashley watches in growing horror as her boss destroys everything the store has built over decades. She wants to intervene, but fears losing her job during a brutal economic climate. One security guard asks Bethany if she's absolutely certain about calling police. Bethany's paranoia mutates into full-blown accusations that would embarrass conspiracy theorists. She grabs Rodriguez's uniform sleeve with desperate fingers, her perfectly manicured nails leaving wrinkles in the fabric. She's definitely using a stolen credit, Bethany declares with the certainty of someone who's lost all connection to reality. I'm absolutely certain this is organized fraud, probably part of a sophisticated criminal ring targeting luxury retailers. Her whispered explanation carries across the silent boutique like she's announcing it through a megaphone. Every customer hears every accusatory word. Rodriguez studies Keisha's calm expression and perfect posture. Nothing about her demeanor suggests criminal behavior or fraudulent intent. If anything, she appears more composed than most legitimate customers facing routine transactions. But Bethany's hysteria intensifies like a feedback loop, amplifying itself. "Ma'am, I require your complete legal name and employee identification number," Keisha requests with polite firmness. Absolutely refused, Bethany clutches her manager's badge like a protective talisman. Corporate policy strictly protects employee privacy from harassment by difficult customers attempting intimidation tactics. She stages another theatrical whisper about credit card fraud prevention protocols while staring directly at Keisha like she's identified a dangerous fugitive. Every word functions as a public accusation designed to humiliate and isolate. More customers abandon their shopping and flee toward the exits. TechLux's elegant atmosphere disintegrates into uncomfortable chaos that drives away legitimate business. Ashley approaches her manager with trembling desperation. 3 years of employment hang in the balance, but her conscience demands action. "Bethany, maybe we should just process the sale normally." "Shut your mouth," Bethany snaps with vicious authority. "Question my management decisions again and you'll be collecting unemployment benefits tomorrow morning." Ashley retreats like a wounded animal, tears forming, despite her attempts at professional composure. Bethany pulls out her personal smartphone and dials 911 with theatrical urgency. Her voice transforms into official concern when the operator answers. "Police emergency. This is Bethany Cross from TechLux Premium, 342 Fifth Avenue. I need officers immediately for suspicious credit card activity in progress. Possible fraud case requiring investigation." She photographs Keisha's identification documents with her phone camera while maintaining eye contact. "Security documentation for our corporate legal department," Bethany explains to the confused guards. "I maintain the absolute highest standards at this establishment," Bethany announces to the remaining customers like she's delivering a campaign speech. "I will never be intimidated by aggressive behavior or fraudulent schemes designed to exploit our reputation." Keisha hasn't raised her voice once during the entire encounter. She stands motionless, studying Bethany like a scientist observing a fascinating but dangerous specimen under laboratory conditions. Police sirens wail outside, and Bethany's triumph tastes like victory champagne. Officers Jackson and Patel push through the boutique's glass doors, their presence instantly transforming the space's energy from retail luxury to criminal investigation. Bethany rushes toward them like a drowning woman spotting rescue boats on distant horizons. "Officers, thank God you arrived so quickly," Bethany gasps with relief that sounds genuinely grateful. "I have a serious fraudulent credit card situation requiring immediate law enforcement intervention." She gestures dramatically toward Keisha like she's identifying a dangerous fugitive who just attempted armed robbery. "She's been acting extremely suspicious since entering our establishment," Bethany continues with growing confidence. demanding access to merchandise far beyond her obvious financial capabilities, presenting questionable identification, refusing to accept appropriate alternatives. Officer Jackson surveys the scene with trained eyes. A composed, well-dressed woman stands quietly near expensive displays while a frantic manager points accusatory fingers and makes wild claims about criminal activity. His police instincts scream contradiction. "Ma'am, what specific crimes has this customer committed?" Jackson asks carefully. "Credit card fraud, identity theft, probably organized retail crime." Bethany's voice climbs toward hysteria. "Look at her appearance versus the merchandise she's demanding. Does this seem legitimate to you?" Officer Patel examines the platinum American Express Centurion card with professional interest. His wealthy sister carries an identical card. Patel recognizes the authentic weight, the precise craftsmanship, the subtle security features that make counterfeiting nearly impossible. "She claims this is real, but our systems detected irregularities," Bethany lies with increasing desperation. "She's probably got accomplices waiting outside in getaway vehicles." Keisha's phone buzzes constantly with incoming notifications. Her screen lights up repeatedly. Thousands of comments, news outlet interview requests, viral hashtags exploding across social media platforms. Bethany notices the suspicious phone activity with fresh paranoia coursing through her bloodstream. "See that constant communication?" Bethany points at the buzzing device like she's identified smoking gun evidence, obviously coordinating with her criminal network, probably planning their next target. She demands the officers confiscate Keisha's phone as evidence of ongoing conspiracy. Her desperation stinks like fierce sweat despite the confident words pouring from her mouth. Ashley whispers to Robert behind the technology counter, "This feels completely wrong. She's destroying everything." Jackson studies both women with growing certainty about who represents the real problem here. One remains calm under extreme pressure and false accusations. The other spirals into increasingly wild conspiracy theories without supporting evidence. "Ma'am," Jackson addresses Keisha directly, his tone respectful and professional. "What's your occupation?" The simple question hangs in the boutique's charged atmosphere like a bomb with visible countdown timer. Bethany leans forward eagerly, absolutely certain the answer will vindicate her paranoid theories and expose the elaborate fraud she's convinced herself she's uncovered. She's about to discover the catastrophic difference between perception and reality. "I'm Reynolds Quantum Industries founder and chief executive officer." The words detonate like grenades in the boutique's crystalline silence. Bethany's face cycles through confusion, disbelief, and dawning terror as her brain struggles to process information that contradicts everything she assumed. Officer Jackson yanks out his smartphone immediately. Google search, Reynolds Quantum Industries CEO Keisha Reynolds. His screen floods with Fortune magazine covers, congressional testimony footage, and Forbes billionaire rankings. $18 billion in annual revenue, Pentagon defense contracts, quantum computing empire spanning 4 continents. "Holy!" Officer Patel whispers, peering over his partner's shoulder at the search results. Bethany's knees buckle slightly as reality crashes through her delusions. "No, that's completely impossible. You're lying. We were considering acquiring TechLux's parent company, Meridian Electronics." Keisha continues with surgical precision that cuts through Bethany's denial. $6 billion cash offer, 52% above current market valuation. She emphasizes the past tense like a judge pronouncing a death sentence. "Your performance today has been remarkably illuminating," Keisha states with the calm authority of someone accustomed to boardroom warfare. "We conduct comprehensive cultural due diligence on all potential acquisitions. Your behavior represents exactly what Reynolds Quantum Industries cannot integrate into our corporate value system." Bethany's world tilts on its axis as she realizes the magnitude of her catastrophic error. Keisha raises her phone, displaying the live social media feed that's been broadcasting every moment. The numbers climbing in real time tell their own story. 89,000 viewers watching live. Comments exploding faster than human eyes can read. Major news outlets requesting immediate interviews. This discrimination incident has been broadcast globally. Keisha's voice carries the weight of absolute finality. Bethany's voice cracks like breaking china. That's impossible." Meridian Electronics' stock price has dropped 28% in the last 2 hours. Keisha reads from her screen with clinical detachment. After-hours trading suggests complete market panic. Officer Jackson steps between the women as the situation's true scope becomes clear. Dr. Reynolds, are you pressing formal charges for discrimination and harassment? Bethany panics completely, her professional facade disintegrating like sugar in acid rain. Wait, stop. This is all a terrible misunderstanding. I can process your purchase immediately, with my most sincere apologies. She scrambles toward the floor where her own actions left the platinum cards scattered like worthless trash. Her designer heel catches in marble grout lines, and she stumbles pathetically while reaching for redemption. Please, Dr. Reynolds, Bethany begs from her knees, holding the card upward like a peace offering. I was just following standard security protocols. I didn't know who you were. You knew exactly who I was, Keisha replies with quiet devastation. A black woman you felt safe humiliating in public. Ashley approaches with hands shaking like autumn leaves. Dr. Reynolds, I'm so deeply sorry. This behavior doesn't represent our true values. Actually, Ashley, this represents your values perfectly. Keisha's voice remains gentle but absolutely final. This demonstrates exactly who you become when you believe no one important is watching. The boutique's atmosphere crackles with the electricity of a world fundamentally shifting on its axis. But Keisha's real punishment for Bethany is just beginning to unfold. Bethany's phone starts buzzing with incoming calls from corporate headquarters. She stares at the caller ID, CEO Gerald Techlux, with growing dread. Answer it, Keisha suggests mildly. Bethany's hand trembles as she accepts the call on speakerphone. Gerald's voice crackles with fury that's been building during his emergency flight from Los Angeles. Bethany, what the hell is happening at my store? My phone is exploding with calls about some discrimination scandal. Mr. Techlux, I can explain everything. Explain why our company stock is in free fall. Explain why CNN is calling for interviews. Explain why Techlux discrimination is the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Bethany's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for oxygen. No words emerge. Keisha speaks into the phone's microphone. Mr. Techlux, this is Dr. Keisha Reynolds, CEO of Reynolds Quantum Industries. We were prepared to acquire your parent company for $6 billion. Past tense. Silence stretches like a taut wire ready to snap. Oh God, Gerald whispers. Oh my God. What have you done, Bethany? The call ends with digital finality. Bethany stares at her phone like it just delivered news of her own death. The digital explosion begins with algorithmic precision. Within 2 hours, Techlux discrimination reaches 4.2 million views across all social media platforms. The video spreads like wildfire through corporate networks, university campuses, and civil rights organizations worldwide. CNN leads evening broadcasts with the story. MSNBC assigns their top investigative team. Fox News debates the incident for 4 hours straight. International media outlets pick up the narrative. BBC, Reuters, Al Jazeera all featured the discrimination caught on camera. Meridian Electronics' stock price craters 31% overnight, wiping out $2.3 billion in market capitalization before trading halts trigger automatic circuit breakers. Emergency board meetings convene via video conference as executives scramble to contain apocalyptic damage spreading through their corporate empire. CEO Harrison Meridian abandons his Aspen ski lodge immediately, chartering a private jet for emergency transport back to New York. His phone burns with crisis management calls from every department head. Sir, we're facing complete brand annihilation, his communications director reports during the cross-country flight. Social media sentiment analysis shows 97% negative responses. Organized boycott campaigns are forming across major cities. Celebrity endorsements are being withdrawn. Influencer partnerships are terminating contracts. The corporate death spiral accelerates beyond human control. Reynolds Quantum Industries' media team releases a statement that becomes the gold standard for corporate crisis communication. Today's incident at Techlux Premium exemplifies systemic discrimination plaguing American luxury retail. While we originally considered acquiring Meridian Electronics, we cannot support organizations that tolerate institutional racism. Reynolds Quantum Industries withdraws all acquisition interest and redirects our investment toward minority-owned technology businesses. We're immediately launching a $750 million fund supporting diverse entrepreneurs who understand that innovation transcends demographics. The statement garners 18 million shares within 4 hours. Gerald Techlux races back from Los Angeles in his corporate jet, hands shaking as he watches viral footage on repeat. The woman he trusted to manage his flagship store just destroyed everything with a single act of cruelty. He calls Keisha's office personally, voice breaking with desperate apologies. "Dr. Reynolds, please understand, Bethany's behavior doesn't represent our company values." "Mr. Techlux," Keisha interrupts with surgical gentleness, "this represents your values exactly. Your manager felt comfortable humiliating me because your institutional culture enabled such behavior. Individual apologies cannot repair systemic discrimination." The conversation records with Gerald's permission. When Keisha posts the audio, it generates 22 million views and becomes required listening in business school ethics courses. Legal experts flood cable news discussing federal discrimination law implications. The Justice Department announces comprehensive reviews of luxury retail practices across major metropolitan shopping districts. Civil rights attorneys contact Keisha's legal team offering pro bono federal case support. Bethany faces immediate termination without severance pay, benefits, or positive references. Corporate housing lease cancellation follows within hours. Company credit cards freeze automatically. Security guards escort her from the building while carrying personal items in a cardboard box as reporters document her walk of shame. The boutique's other customers face social media identification and career consequences. The diamond-wearing woman who nodded approvingly at Bethany's discrimination loses 3 nonprofit board positions when her identity emerges. Her country club membership gets reviewed pending investigation. Ashley receives 23 job offers from competing luxury retailers impressed by her moral courage during the crisis. She accepts a management position at Apple's flagship store with an 85% salary increase and explicit authority over diversity initiatives. Reynolds Quantum Industries' stock price surges 12% as investors applaud the company's principled stance against discrimination. Competitor technology brands rush emergency diversity statements trying to distance themselves from Techlux's toxic reputation. Industry trade publications publish exposé articles about discriminatory practices that have festered like infected wounds for decades. The Technology Retailers Association calls emergency meetings to address systemic bias before other companies face similar viral destruction. Business schools scramble to develop case study materials. Harvard Business School announces the incident will anchor their ethics curriculum. Stanford Graduate School of Business schedules emergency seminars about corporate social responsibility in the digital age. The Techlux case becomes required reading for MBA students studying crisis management, corporate ethics, and the intersection of social justice with business strategy. International technology conglomerates institute immediate policy reviews. Secret shopper programs emerge to test store cultures regularly. The Reynolds Standard enters business vocabulary as shorthand for treating all customers with dignity, regardless of appearance or assumptions. Federal legislation gets fast-tracked through Congress, requiring comprehensive bias training for all customer-facing employees in establishments exceeding $10 million annual revenue. The Technology Retail Dignity Act establishes financial penalties for discriminatory practices and creates federal funding for cultural competency programs. The transformation ripples beyond retail into healthcare, banking, hospitality, and real estate. Corporate executives worldwide study the case as a cautionary tale about how viral humiliation can destroy decades of careful brand building overnight. But Bethany's personal consequences have barely begun to unfold. Bethany's wrongful termination lawsuit becomes a masterclass in legal self-destruction. She claims discrimination based on unrealistic performance standards and hostile work environment created by social media harassment. The irony escapes her completely. Her first attorney reviews the viral footage for exactly 23 minutes before withdrawing from representation. "Ma'am, this case is unwinnable," he explains with brutal honesty. "You're documented committing textbook discrimination. No jury would side with you." Employment lawyers across Manhattan refuse her calls. Her name triggers instant rejection. Legal practices won't risk their reputations defending obvious discrimination captured in high-definition video from 17 different camera angles. No one will touch this case, her final attorney explains during their last meeting. You've become litigation poison. Insurance companies won't cover discrimination this blatant. Personal bankruptcy arrives with mathematical inevitability. Legal consultation fees devour her savings account. Court filing costs drain her checking account. Her luxury Upper East Side apartment mortgage enters foreclosure within 120 days. The property she once bragged about to colleagues gets listed for emergency liquidation sale. Bethany packs her designer belongings into cardboard boxes while process servers deliver additional lawsuit notifications. Social media vigilantes conduct digital archaeology on her employment history. Previous discrimination incidents surface like buried evidence at crime scenes. A disturbing pattern emerges across her 12-year retail career. Maria Gonzalez remembers being accused of credit card fraud at Nordstrom when Bethany worked there as assistant manager. David Chen describes being followed by security after Bethany flagged him as suspicious at Best Buy's premium section. Jennifer Washington recalls Bethany demanding additional verification for her legitimate corporate card at the Microsoft store. 23 similar complaints spanning multiple luxury retailers build into a devastating class action lawsuit. Bethany's discrimination wasn't isolated. It was systematic, calculated, and repeated across her entire career. She attempts a public apology tour that backfires with spectacular cringeworthy results. Morning television interviews become viral compilation videos as Bethany blames everyone except herself. I was just protecting store assets, she tells Good Morning America host Michael Strahan. Following established company policies, how was I supposed to know she was actually important? The clip explodes across social media for all the wrong reasons. How was I supposed to know she was important? Becomes a meme highlighting the fundamental problem. Treating human beings differently, based on assumed social worth. Bethany moves to rural Tennessee with relatives who barely tolerate her presence. She works overnight shifts at a 24-hour gas station under her maiden name, hoping to avoid recognition. Former TechLux colleagues pretend ignorance when she attempts contact through social media. Her LinkedIn profile gets deactivated after harassment complaints. Her professional network evaporates like morning dew. The luxury retail industry creates Bethany Protocols, comprehensive bias training programs named directly after her case. Her photograph appears in corporate sensitivity workshops as the ultimate example of career-destroying discrimination. Background checks reveal her viral infamy immediately during job application processes. Even discount retail chains reject her employment applications. She becomes permanently unemployable in her chosen profession. Mental health deterioration follows predictably. Depression, anxiety, and social isolation compound as she exists in a prison constructed from her own prejudice, maintained by stubborn pride, and locked from the inside with rusty keys of unrepentant racism. Meanwhile, Keisha's strategic response creates transformation waves far beyond retail boundaries. The TechLux incident becomes retail's equivalent of a regulatory earthquake, sending shockwaves through every major luxury brand worldwide. Corporate boardrooms transform into war rooms as executives realize that discriminatory cultures represent existential threats in the social media age. Best Buy implements emergency bias training within 48 hours of the viral explosion. Apple Store establishes customer experience oversight committees with direct reporting lines to executive leadership. Microsoft Store partners strategically with the NAACP, Urban League, and Anti-Defamation League to create comprehensive industry-wide discrimination reporting systems. Anonymous tip lines emerge, allowing customers to report biased treatment without fear of retaliation or identification. Harvard Business School's ethics department works around the clock, developing comprehensive case study materials. The Reynolds TechLux incident, corporate social responsibility in the digital age, becomes required curriculum for MBA students studying crisis management and ethical leadership. The Keisha Reynolds Standard enters business vocabulary as shorthand for maintaining dignity under pressure while responding strategically to injustice, rather than emotionally. Leadership conferences feature her congressional testimony about systemic discrimination embedded in American luxury retail culture. Federal legislation advances through Congress with bipartisan support, a rarity in contemporary politics. The Technology Retail Dignity Act establishes mandatory bias training requirements for customer-facing employees in establishments exceeding $10 million annual revenue. Financial penalties for discriminatory practices fund cultural competency programs nationwide. International luxury conglomerates adopt emergency policy reforms inspired directly by Keisha's case. Samsung, Sony, and LG establish secret shopper programs testing store cultures regularly across their American locations. Corporate executives understand that viral humiliation can obliterate decades of careful brand cultivation overnight. Young entrepreneurs of color cite the incident as inspiration for launching competing luxury brands. Reynolds Quantum Industries Minority Business Investment Fund receives over 18,000 applications within 8 months, creating an entirely new ecosystem of inclusive technology retailers who understand that innovation transcends demographics. The transformation ripples through healthcare systems, banking institutions, and hospitality industries. Corporate boardrooms worldwide study video footage as executives grasp that systematic bias represents massive financial liability in an interconnected global economy. University business programs add discrimination risk assessment to their core curricula. Students learn to identify institutional bias as a quantifiable threat to shareholder value and corporate sustainability. 6 months after the incident that redefined an industry, Keisha enters Microsoft's flagship Manhattan store. This time, her reputation precedes her arrival, like royal fanfare announcing visiting nobility. Red carpet treatment unfolds immediately. Store management greets her personally. Private demonstration rooms open exclusively for her selection. Premium champagne appears in crystal flutes. Personal consultants compete for her attention with carefully curated presentations. The contrast feels surreal and deeply troubling. She examines a stunning quantum computing prototype worth $850,000 while reflecting on the vast chasm between her current experience and Bethany's calculated cruelty. The differential treatment highlights systemic problems that extend far beyond individual prejudice. How many brilliant minds face Bethany's discrimination without billion-dollar platforms for defense? How many potential entrepreneurs get discouraged by retail humiliation before they can build empires? How many dreams die in boutiques where bias masquerades as business protocol? The questions haunt her success. The original TechLux premium location now houses the Reynolds Institute for Technology Excellence, a comprehensive diversity training center funded entirely by the boutique's liquidation proceeds. Bethany's former workplace teaches inclusive customer service to luxury retail workers from across the nation. Ashley Kim thrives as director of Keisha's personal technology consulting service for Reynolds Quantum Industries executives. Her career flourished exponentially after choosing moral courage over comfortable silence during the crisis. She speaks regularly at retail industry conferences about recognizing discrimination patterns and finding strength to intervene when colleagues behave badly. Bethany Cross's story becomes required reading in business ethics courses nationwide, a cautionary tale about how personal prejudices can detonate careers and destroy companies with nuclear efficiency. Graduate students analyze her downfall as a master class in consequences meeting choices. Keisha's charitable foundation launches scholarship programs specifically supporting minority students pursuing STEM degrees. She mentors young entrepreneurs facing systemic barriers, teaching them to transform obstacles into strategic advantages through patient planning and precise execution. Her approach remains consistent across all situations. Respond strategically rather than emotionally. Document everything thoroughly. Build alternative systems that reward inclusive behavior rather than simply punishing discrimination. The TechLux incident transcended personal vindication entirely. It demonstrated how strategic responses to injustice create lasting institutional change that benefits countless future victims. Keisha leveraged her unique position to highlight ongoing discrimination while simultaneously building practical solutions. She never sought revenge. She pursued comprehensive reform. The distinction matters profoundly. Individual bias training sessions happen daily across luxury retail chains. Corporate executives review customer interaction footage regularly, like military commanders studying battlefield intelligence. The industry learned that discriminatory cultures represent existential threats requiring immediate remediation. Keisha's calculated victory created expanding ripple effects, still generating change. Young entrepreneurs launch businesses inspired by her strategic example. Customers feel empowered to document and report discriminatory treatment without fear. The retail landscape shifts toward genuine inclusivity rather than performative corporate gestures designed for public relations purposes. Personal humiliation became institutional transformation through strategic thinking and patient execution. Dignity defended creates change. Dignity ignored creates destruction. 3 years later, Reynolds Quantum Industries has become the world's largest minority-owned technology company, valued at $47 billion. The company's acquisition fund has invested in 312 diverse technology startups, creating over 28,000 jobs and generating $12 billion in economic activity. Bethany Cross works night shifts at a rural gas station, still claiming she was just following company policy. She's applied for 847 jobs in 3 years. Her viral infamy follows her everywhere like a digital scarlet letter. The Reynolds Standard is now taught in business schools worldwide. When faced with discrimination, respond strategically, document everything, build alternatives, and create lasting change rather than seeking temporary satisfaction. Keisha never mentions Bethany's name in interviews. She focuses on systemic solutions rather than individual blame. But sometimes, late at night in her corporate office, she watches the viral footage and smiles. Not because she destroyed someone's life, but because she built something better from the ashes of institutional bias. The message resonates across generations. Your character isn't revealed by how you treat people who can help you, but by how you treat people you think can't hurt you. Bethany learned too late that everyone deserves dignity, and dignity denied always demands a reckoning. If this story of justice and transformation resonated with you, smash that like button right now. Your engagement helps us expose more cases where discrimination meets devastating consequences. Subscribe to our Mirror channel for daily deep dives into real situations where hidden power players face bias and respond with life-changing results. We document verified cases where assumptions about people based on appearance or background lead to massive corporate failures and personal downfalls. Like this video if you believe dignity matters regardless of demographics. Subscribe if you want to see more cases where bias meets brutal consequences. Comment below sharing your own experiences with discrimination, or tell us which upcoming story you want us to investigate next. Remember, in the age of social media, character isn't just about who you are when no one is watching. It's about who you are when everyone is recording.